boys, my camera might lag during this video, but you're just gonna have to bear with and just cope with it. But I've actually not made a video for a couple of days now, and that's because I was spending a lot of time with family, and I didn't really get the chance to at night make a video. But I've learned a couple things, and one, the trial by fire video, I stand on, but some points I disagree with, right? And I was speaking to Omer, and he explained to me that the more you say, like, you've got to walk through the pain, you will put more pain into your life by thinking that way. And realistically, man, like, think about it, like, that's not a good thing, right? Now, I've also learned, like, a couple other things. I had a mastermind call with a guy called Carol. He's a year older than me. He's making 60k a month. So he's smashing it, and I learned quite a lot of things on that mastermind call. He really opened my eyes up to really just tracking the numbers and knowing, like, your numbers in terms of, like, your KPIs. So I want to start tracking that a little bit more. I'm refining my messaging because my short rate was like 5% or some bullshit like at the start of last month, and then long story. So I'm just refining my messaging to get higher shows, but I think overall, like, my process isn't that bad now. I think what I'm going to do, because it's the 1st of November, I'm going to track for like a week how it is, right? So starting Monday, so that'll be the 3rd, I'll start, like, that week will basically be tracked in terms of, well, it's all fucking tracked, but I'm going to keep a close eye on it to see, okay, right, I'm not going to change anything in my setting process, I'm just going to see how it is, right? Now I'm going to see if it's an outlier. My brain's a bit mashed, it's 10 o'clock right now, and to be honest, like, I've just had one of those days, right? However, I did start the day really well. I think what I found now is I'm not going to go to the gym in the mornings, and the reason being is because I really lock in when I get up, pray, and then start working, right? My energy decreases a lot in the morning after the gym, especially because I'm back around 9, and then, like, I even started falling asleep for like half an hour to an hour some days because I was just tired from, like, the 4:30 wake-ups and then late to bed. With going straight to work instead of just going to the gym and smashing weights, I'm saving energy, I've got better focus, and I'm less stimulated, because the less stimulation you can have in the morning, the more focus you can have, and the more focus you have towards work, well, you can tell why that's extremely beneficial for you. So I think I found that out, and then I'm usually going to go to the gym around midday now or later on in the night, so I'm going to split test those two. I think midday is really good if I don't have sales calls, because it allows me to take a break, if that makes sense. And I think it's really important that we all take breaks as well from work during the day, because you cannot genuinely sit in a room for 16 hours. Maybe this is a limiting belief, but you can't sit in a room for 16 hours and just do work. Like, I don't know, like, that's, to me personally, I ain't fucking with that. I don't know, maybe on some Charlie Morgan bullshit, maybe they would, right? But I don't know, man. I've got to get this room tidied up as well. I've got, like, 3 water bottles here. Need to take that on. I've got my plate. One thing though, my sales in general is getting better. So since I changed my offer and I'm role playing more, I know that I'm going to close way more deals. And I'm building out, like, a service delivery system now to test out for some clients, and then that's going to be transferred over to every other client and used as a template build. So I think overall, like, I'm making a lot of progress, and this is really giving me a lot of push and drive, because I feel like I've got a clear place to go. I'm really working on my consistency, and one thing I want to actually mention is at the gym I've been watching a lot of videos to do with identity shifting and things that I've talked about in previous videos, but just in a bit more depth than I know, right? And I was listening to something in the gym today, and he said that the uncomfortable experience that you feel when you're making changes or you're doing things and being more disciplined is your old self trying to pull you back into doing what you used to do. And I realised that at the start of last month, I had a very big downward spiral. I fell into like a lot of old bad habits, simply just because of a couple like negative things. Now, there's multiple reasons. I was too focused on outcomes, but I also think because there was a lot of changes at once into my personality and the way that I live my life, and the expectations I put on myself, I ended up crumbling. But that's also because I wasn't aware that this is just a mandatory phase that we must go through in a sense. Which I don't even think it's like a mandatory thing that you must feel the friction, because there's been times in my life where I've just naturally changed like this and there's not been any hardship to it, but I don't know. I guess like that's a good indication that I'm doing something different. And he also said if you want to change your personality, you have to change your personal reality, right? So you've got to change your environment with your personality. And when you're building systems to break bad habits, make it so that it's not just a system to not do the bad habit, but it's a system that has friction to not do the bad habit. So, for example, let's say you quit smoking and you get rid of cigarettes, but then you are tempted, for example, you go to the gym and the shop where you get fags from is right next to it. Switch the gym, add more friction to it, right? And so the point here is that you must change your environment as well as changing yourself. And goal setting is completely useless without personal change. It's just mental masturbation, very stupid. I mean, think about it, right? If you deserved it, you'd already be there type of shit, okay? Meaning that the goals that you're setting for yourself right now, the reason you don't have that is because that is not you as a person, and you don't deserve that yet, right? And people think that you have to work super hard in order to deserve things. It's actually not that true. You have to do the work, but you also must change yourself into the person who naturally has those things, right? So, for example, if you want a rollie, you're going to have to naturally change yourself into the person who has that rollie, right? Feel the weight of that on your wrist. Feel the luxury of it. Be the man that wears the Rolex, right? Like, think about the man who makes 30k a month, right? How does he act, and then how do you act? And you must shift who you are now to the man where you want to get to, if that makes sense. But for that, you need to make not only internal changes, but external changes. The systems you use, the things you do, your environment, these kind of things as well. To really, like, solidify that into your brain, because the thing is, it's not like a lot of big changes at once. It's a small change that reinforces to yourself that you are now this person. And many of those small changes that reinforce the new you will eventually ingrain into your subconscious to the point where you won't feel like an imposter, to the point where you won't feel like lost, right? You'll feel like that is you naturally, right? It's kind of like going to the gym. Like, you go to the gym maybe 3-4 days a week, and it feels a little bit unnatural at first. Maybe you're looking at the weights, you're thinking like, what do I do here? But as you research, so you change your environment, what you watch, right? You actually go to the gym and change your environment, and you get into the mindset of, oh shit, one sec, boy. I just had a lead call me from Simple Scale. Anyway, right, back to business. So you're changing your environment in terms of what you watch. Your environment is actually going to the gym. You're changing your inner self by looking at the slight progress you're making or the weight that you're pushing. So you see how these factors are both internal and external. And I actually said in an Instagram reel once, you must change the to change the internal. You also must change the external, or something along them lines. And it's very true. It can't just be the internal that changes. You can't just say I am rich and not act like a rich person. A lot of people don't understand this as well. Is like they want to manifest things, but they don't actually change themselves. I don't think you will get anything unless you change what you are doing, right? You can't tell me if I tell myself I'm going to get a Ferrari like this without changing how I work, what I do, how much money I make. how I live my life, the way that I think, that I'll actually just get that Ferrari on my front drive. That's not how this shit works. And I don't know, it's one of those. It's a little bit of a rant, but hey ho. What else can I talk about? What can I give updates on? I've built a new SMS system. This is the bomb, right? So split test 3 different messages at once. If a positive reply, it will add them to a power dialer workflow. And then from there, obviously, you got the power dialer outcomes. So you got no answer, voicemail, busy, and answered. And then those each correlate to certain places in the pipeline. So, for example, voicemail is like if a lead shouldn't even be in the positive reply, so they would negative reply. If it's busy, they're not interested, so they go to not interested. No answer, it'll re-enroll them into the power dialer so I can call them again tomorrow. Answered is booked because nobody ever answers and says they're interested to me. They always get booked in. The point is, I built a system that is scalable to team members. Which goes to my next topic. I'm going to hire setters again. I think I'm just going to hire one setter this time. And I was on a coaching call. Shout out Matthew. He spilled some sauce to do with LinkedIn, so I'm going to try and thieve that sauce off him. And hire a good like corporate setter. And get him to retain and get him to obviously get good at setting. But first I obviously need to nail in my kind of messaging and show up rate. And then once I fix the show up rate and then I get a setter and then I get on sales calls, boys, I'm making a lot of money this month. But I'm not going to set any kind of expectations in terms of what money I want to make this month. I'm just going to let the money come to me by Allah's will, right? And this is one thing I realised as well, is like, it's good to have like I'm going to make 100k this month. But when you get too focused on that outcome, then there's not actually much point in setting that goal. The only thing it's going to do is actually harm you rather than benefit you, right? And furthermore, it's actually just mental masturbation going, I'm going to do this. Because at the end of the day, you get more dopamine from telling other people that you're going to make X, Y, Z. And it's just like, the quicker you come up, the quicker you fall. So that's a quick lesson. There's a lot of value jam-packed in this 12-minute video. So anyone who watches this shit, you better be watching all the way through this. If not, well then it's your own fucking loss, isn't it, really? But I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of jittery right now. I'm not sure why. I don't know. Like I've got a passion for the game. I love the game. One thing I do want to like get better though is my Iman. So I want to strengthen my relationship with God. I feel like that's kind of been slipping over the past day or two, and I'm aware enough to catch myself in the act of that. So I'm going to probably watch a couple more Islamic lectures and learn more about Allah so I can get closer to God. And I don't know. I think maybe it's a short video. It doesn't need to be a long video today. But yeah, we're going to see how this month plays out. I've got high hopes just in terms of my general input. I think that my structure right now just needs some fine tuning, and to be honest, I might even move the setup around. I've moved the setup everywhere it can be in this room, right? I've moved it over there, I've moved it facing the window, I've moved it here, I've moved it so that the desk is like that way, so I'd be the opposite way right now. But yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I'll move it to change my environment like I was talking about before, but we'll see. We will see. I am really grateful, just in general, like for everything that I have. I think I need to be more aware and present in the moment as well, and thank God more. I in the summer reached a super like abundant frequency, and I just started like signing. I started like making more money from it, and I just generally enjoyed life a lot better. And so I'm gonna try and like tap into that again. Or like I'm not gonna try and tap into it again. I just am going to tap into that level of like abundance. Like I have everything. Like I always get everything taken care of me by Allah. So I always find a way to make it work, and the only reason is because of God. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's a good day. It's 10 o'clock, 10:21, and life's good, you know. And like, I guess inherently, like looking at it, nothing's really changed in my life over the past like 2 or 3 days. But I guarantee if you watch like the first video, the second video, then this video, you'll generally see like a different kind of person, I guess. Which is the whole point of it being authentic. But like, you'll see that it's different, you know. I don't know, it's very interesting. But yeah, that's about it, boys. I thought I'd give you guys an update. It's 1st of November, let's see where we get to this month, and let's smash it. See you later, boys. See you tomorrow.